Hello, everybody. This is Howard, the Teaserking, coming to you with Week 5 of the NFL. And I'll maybe throw a college game or two into this. Um, Had a bad week in college. I went 4-3, but my lock, Old Mississippi State, really shocked me. And again, not enough information out there. I knew Leach would score. He put up 44 on LSU, so I go, oh, okay, the offense is working. They're playing Arkansas, who can't score. I'm sure he'll score 40 on Arkansas. They're not a good team. And the kid throws 3 interceptions. The Stanford kid, who's not bad. So, that's what happens. You got to bet him before the game, unfortunately. So that hurt me. Texas Tech, I bet it over. The quarterback gets hurt. And I think the Kansas State quarterback gets hurt. So it was like a lot of injuries. And I'm noticing that in the NFL, so many injuries. Forget the virus, but the injuries are just, McCafferty. And then Frisco, I don't know if their second quarterback's out also. Um, I hit 2 locks in the pros, Tampa Bay. Brady came through, and then Russell Wilson. He's the man. So those 2 locks won. Green Bay over. Atlanta didn't show up, but if Green Bay scores from the 1 yard line on 4th and 1 in the first quarter, it goes over. So that's how close that was. But it shouldn't have been that close. Where was Atlanta against that terrible Green Bay defense? So again, it was just that type of week. As I've been saying, I've been making the picks using the logic, using the trends, and they all been winning. Obviously, I was 27-1. So last week, I ended up going 7-3. So now I'm 34-4. So okay, that was still a good week. I won every game on Sunday. I lost the Green Bay game, and I took the Jets under. Again, why you don't play the weak, inconsistent teams. Denver starts a rookie quarterback. The Jets quarterback gets hurt, and they score all these points, and you're just scratching your head going, okay, I don't get it. I mean, one team averaged 12 points a game, one 15. So you take them under, but, that happens. I probably wouldn't have played the Jets if there was a normal Sunday game. Um, that's one of the problems. I'm trying to not fall in the trap when you're 27-1 and you're going 10-0 and 7-0. You don't want to get complacent, and I don't think I did. I made like I said, the only problem I had Sunday, I didn't play all the games. I won every game. I didn't play the Dallas game. I was worried about Cleveland. I didn't play Carolina. I knew after the secondary of Arizona was out. I didn't play the New Orleans Detroit over, which I had marked lock, and then all the injuries to New Orleans. And I said, you know what? I don't know. The Lions look good against Arizona, and again, you get caught up in it, and the game easily goes over. It was over in the third quarter, so it was one of those days where the games I should have locked, I didn't. The locks came in, but and then like I said, Green Bay on Monday night. I love when it's like two explosive teams and it's 7-3 at the at halftime or something. You're like, okay, what the hell is going on here? So anyway, that's a recap of last week. The pros this week, you got to wait on some injuries. The Jets quarterback, Frisco, is their second quarterback playing. Is Cam Newton playing? With Tampa Bay, the couple of receivers, the top 3 receivers are questionable. Are they going to play? Well, if it was Sunday, probably, but Thursday night, that line's dropping down to 3.5. I don't really know. So let me give you, I'm going to give you 2 games that will maybe surprise you, maybe won't. First game, Dallas laying 9 or 9.5 to the Giants. At first thought, Dallas can't stop the win, but the Giants don't have a good quarterback. Dallas has been losing to Atlanta. I mean, they've been giving up big points to Ryan, and they've been giving up big points to Russell Wilson. So a lot of their games, in Cleveland lit them up. They've been getting lit up by pretty good quarterbacks, and that's not the case this week. Daniel Jones. Um, the Giants are probably one of the two Z teams, which are like they don't score and they give up a lot, so they don't have a good defense. Um, the key to this play is looking at the head-to-head. Dallas is 15-1 against the number in a teaser in the series against the Giants, and in Dallas they're 8-0. So Dallas at home takes care of business against the Giants. This is a weak Giant team. So not only Dallas is comfortable beating the Giants, they desperately need the win, of course. And this is a do or die game for them, really. I mean, if you can't beat the Giants at home, your season's over, right? If they lose this game, the season's over. Um, Try to get it at 3. If you got to go 3.5, you got to go 3.5. Really like Dallas in this spot. You got a week you got Barkley out for the Giants. Daniel Jones thinks he's in the ACC. He's playing Virginia. He thinks because he's terrible. I think they drafted him because he was in the Peyton Manning quarterback camp, and Peyton liked him in the camp. Like, ooh, that makes a big difference. I heard some guy say that if they get the number one pick and Lawrence is available, not to draft Lawrence because they got Jones, or it was the Jet guy. It was one of the two who said, "No, we got Darnold. We don't want, that guy should be fired." Now it's free speech, so he can say what he wants. But this is why you don't listen, because there's too many idiots out there that don't know what they're talking about. So try not to listen to them. Let's go. Let's go into the numbers. So, as I said, head to head, it's all Dallas. They're 11-1 the last 12, 15-1 the last 16. That's exactly why I do trends and exactly what you're looking for. It's a matchup issue. Dallas should have no problem scoring on them, and there's no way the Giants, as bad as Dallas's defense is, should be able to do a lot if they just blitz. There's no running game to worry about, so it's just blitz Jones the whole game, get a couple picks, and get a lead, and just keep holding it. Dallas can surely score 40. Let's look at the numbers. So Dallas, they score 32 and give up 37. I mean, it's like a college team. They give up 37, but as I said, they played a lot of high-scoring quarterbacks. Russell Wilson and Atlanta, Ryan. So it's let's give them a chance against somebody terrible. The Giants score 12 a game and give up 24. So Dallas should still be able to score 35 points on the Giants, but I don't see where the Giants, only averaging 12 a game, are going to do anything. I give him credit for holding the Rams to 17, but that's just Jared Goff, who's really terrible. So I see that, and so Dallas or the Giants. This is a really screwy schedule. I notice a lot of West Coast teams having to go east for 2 weeks in a row, and here I see the Giants played in L.A. and I don't know what they did, and now they got to go to Dallas. So I don't know if they stayed out on the West Coast or flew back to New York, and then will fly to Dallas. I'm not sure, but the Rams go to Philly. They went to Philly. Now they're going to Washington. So they went to Philly. They went to the Giants, and now they're going to the Jets or they went to Philly and Buffalo, and now Washington. So that's 3 East Coast trips, and it's because they're playing the NFC East. So they play Dallas, which they beat, and they play the Giants, the Eagles, and Washington. So this will be their last trip, and they won at Philly and they won at Buffalo, which was a great win. And they beat the Giants and they beat Dallas. So, um, so this is where the problems arrive. You overvalue the Rams because of their competition. And like here at Dallas, you're saying, well, their defense is really bad, but it's based on their competition. When you play Seattle and Atlanta, your defense is going to give up over 30 points a game, and that's what it is. So let's see how they do against the Giants. Let's look at them in a teaser. 2019 and 2020, Dallas is 6-4 as a home favorite and against. Not much there. The Giants are 8-1 as a road dog and 7-2 against, and the Giants are 16-4 overall against. So if you bet against them, the last 20, you win 80% of the time. Um, so on the road, they'll play them a game, but they'll lose close. That's what it's saying because they're still 7-2 against. So, even last week against the Rams, the Giants covered, um, and they might cover here, but I'm looking for Dallas to pretty much run away with this game based on their offensive talent and the fact that the Giants can't really score. So let's go back to 2018, 2019, and 2020. The Giants are 16-1 as a road dog, 94%, 13-4 against, 28-8 against, 78% against. So it went from 80 to 70. So they had a pretty good year in 2018. Dallas 12-5 as a home favorite, 13-4 against. So they play pretty close games at home also. Not a lot of blowouts, but again, that's the broad brush. And if we go back to 2017, Dallas 14-8 is a home favorite, 16-6 against. So they're very like, okay, they lose some games to the better teams at home, and then they beat the bad teams, and that's what's going on. The Giants 21-3 as a road dog, 88% outstanding, and 19-5 against, which is 79%. 41-11 against, which is 79% against. So consistently 2017, 2018, 2019, and now 2020. If you bet against them, 79% of the time you're going to win. And that's what we're looking for. So the biggest thing I look for is strength against weakness, obviously. So I find the weak teams, and I rate the Giants as one of the weaker teams. And I rank the weak teams with, I kind of have a little bit of a lettering system. So like your Baltimores, your Kansas Cities, like Kansas City scores 29 and gives up 18. They're an A team. They're the best. They're the A's. Frisco's like 27-18, but I see they lost to Philly. They lost to Arizona. So I give them a B because they didn't. Kansas City's 4-0 and Frisco's lost 2. But their scores have been good. So again, the scores they rolled it up was against the Jets and the Giants, the two worst teams. So again, I can't give them an A for that. Now, if you're a team that does a lot of scoring and gives up a lot, aka New Orleans, they score 31 and give up 31. I call them an over team because I know they're going to score a lot and I know they're going to give up a lot. So it's an over team. And then the under teams are like Chicago. They score 21, they give up 20. So they don't score a lot, and they have a good defense. And that's what you look for in an under. Now, with Nick Foles, I'm expecting that offense to get better. But Indy really took it to him last week. Indy's, well, man, they're just playing incredible. They're an A. They score 26 and only give up 14. They're the best defense. Then Baltimore, Kansas City, and Frisco are 18s, but Frisco again played the Jets and the Giants. Baltimore played KC and are still an 18. KC played Baltimore and they're an 18. So KC's defense is very good. And of course, we know Mahomes. So that's what you're looking for. Now I get to the bottom of the spectrum, teams that don't score a lot but give up a lot. And like a W is Washington. They score 20 and they give up 28. Houston scores 20, gives up 32. So they're not quite terrible because they can score a little bit, but they give up less. They score less than they give up. And then a Z is like the worst team. The Giants score 12, give up 24. The Jets score 16, give up 33. Those are zero Z teams. You bet against them. Um, you know, they might win if they played each other, or when the Giants play Washington, team and that can be competitive with. But now you got them going against Dallas, who again scores 32. Now, even though Dallas gives up 37, let's look for a team the Giants played. Well, they played Frisco. They scored 27, give up 18. Frisco scored like 35 on them and gave up 3 or 6 or something like that. Um, we'll see as they play more. I think they played, no, they didn't play the Rams. Um, anyway, that's what you're looking for. And again, this gets tweaked every week. And the, the more exposure and the more games they play, the finer, you don't want to get fooled by it. Like again, I'm assuming Arkansas is terrible, new coach, and they beat Mississippi State, who just beat LSU. Now maybe they were flat, maybe they didn't get up because it was Arkansas. Although I didn't think that Mike Leach, a new coach, is they're gonna not get up, for Arkansas. Even though as bad as they are, it's still they got to play Alabama and LSU and Auburn. You don't go flat against Arkansas. So now we'll learn more about Arkansas and Mississippi State. As was the LSU game a fluke? LSU now they started to score last week. Are they back to normal? They got to have a lot of talent. It's like Alabama. Everybody graduates. They still have a lot of talent. I would think LSU has a lot of talent, and we'll start getting. It's a new quarterback, and their best safety. I can't think of the name. Got hurt, or he's not playing, or something. Um, so they've lost a little bit of talent. The best wide receiver in the country, Chase, decides to sit out. I mean, get ready for the NFL. Like, what the hell is he doing? See, I hate that, man. You're gonna play. He couldn't go pro last year, so play because they're gonna forget you. And you were good with Burrow, but how good are you gonna be? And then you sit out a whole year. I'm sorry, I wouldn't draft the guy as good as he is. And if you notice on Minnesota, my man Jefferson's starting to look really good. The LSU wide receiver from last year. So that's what I'm looking for. So we're gonna take Dallas, and we're gonna lay 3.5, and we're gonna bet it big. This is a very strong play. Um, we have the head-to-head at 15-1. There's no key. The key injury to me would be Elliott or Prescott. Now I don't love Prescott. I think he's average, and I think that's why they're losing. Is he throws too many interceptions. But in this type of game, I think he thrives. So if you let's look at Prescott. He's throwing for 422 yards a game, which seems like they're not giving Elliott the ball enough. Well, let's look at their running. Dallas throws for 422 and only runs for 100 yards a game. That's a problem. They need to run more. They should have that up to 150. Baltimore runs for 160. Cleveland runs for 200. I don't know. Many runs for 150. New England runs for 180. It's mostly Newton. So you can see, and then you see the bad teams. The Giants and the Jets run for 75, 80 yards a game. And you can see why. So the balanced teams, Green Bay, here's what you want. Throws for 300, runs for 150, 450 a game. That is why they're undefeated. Seattle, 321, runs for 113. So they get enough running to balance it and balance the defense. And that's what you want. I see Buffalo's a little bit of that. They throw for 330 and run for only 93, and that hurts. And look at New Orleans, throws for 260, but the guy's been out, Thomas, and runs for 120. So basically, They should be a little bit stronger passing the ball, but that's balance. You need that balance. Here's Kansas City. They pass for 280. They run for 129, 412 with chocolatey clear. That's why they win, right? The teams that can do that win. And you look at the Giants, they throw for 220 and run for 76. They don't even get 300 yards a game. The Jets 202 and 98. They get 300. So they're not like throwing for 300, and they're still only running for 90 and 76. So I mean, at least like Buffalo, they throw for 330 and run for 90. The Jets only are throwing for 200 and run for 90. So that's why they're bad. It's always the offense, which is why you're a Z and why you're a bad team. They don't have neither of them have the quarterbacks, uh, the receivers, just questionable drafting. The coaches are terrible. Both coaches should be fired. Should never have been hired for the Jets and the Giants. And what's with keep hiring the New England assistants? None of them have done any good, and yet they keep hiring them. Like, why? Belichick runs the show. He's a control freak, obviously, and he controls everything. So his assistants they're not good head coaches, and I can imagine how he micromanages them. So it's just terrible. But why would you keep drafting them? You got Urban Meyer, you can get Harbaugh, buy him out. Um, I heard Dabo Sweeney might go to Houston. I don't know. If I was him, I wouldn't move. Um, and it's just you got to get the right coordinator who's a good coach, like Frank Wright. I didn't know he'd be a good head coach, but he is. So you got to be careful with that. But it's hard to get a head coach, but um, you gotta choose better than that. So let's go to the Giants. Daniel Jones, 2 touchdowns and 5 picks. Throws for 222 a game, 61%. Prescott 68. Russell Wilson 75%, 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's the superstar. And what the Giants have, 61%, 2 touches, 5 interceptions, is not the superstar. So game one, we take Dallas. We lay the 3.5. I think this is a game that they have to win, and I think they win and they score in the 30s. And I don't think the Giants, as bad as Dallas's defense is, this is not the quarterback that's going to hurt them. He's not Matt Ryan. He's not Russell Wilson. He's not Drew Brees. This is not. He won't. Maybe the weakness is the secondary on Dallas, but he won't really be able to do much against it. So I think this will be like 30, at least 35-10 or something like that. Should be a blowout for Dallas. They just have to win the game. You got to be careful with this COVID now. Um, New England, you got to wait to hear about Newton. Buffalo, Tennessee, you got to wait to hear about Tennessee. Um, so it's hard to play those games. Let's go with the second game. Second game, Baltimore is laying 13 with an over-under of 51 against Cincinnati. Now, there's two ways to play this game. I've been getting a lot of these lately, right? The play in the head-to-head series is Cincinnati. They're 6-0 in Baltimore, 10-1 the last 11 against Baltimore. Now, that includes Lamar Jackson the last 2 years, right? So you played them in 4 games, and they're 10-1 against them. So, or they're either 4-0 or 3-1 against him. And now they got a quarterback in Joe Burrow. Um, so on one hand, I like Cincinnati in 19. I just think they're way too good of a team with Joe Burrow. AJ Green's playing to not get 19 points. That's a whole lot of points for a team with Joe Burrow on it, right? Um, But the over under of 51, you cut it to 45. And that seems like that's 24-21. I guarantee you, since he gets 21 and Baltimore, with this spread, it'll be 35 to 24 or something, is what they're saying. Let's look at the numbers. Baltimore scores 31, gives up 18, 198 yards passing, 160 yards running, 359. So they're more of a running team, but they can score. KC lit them up. Not that Cincinnati's going to light them up, but they with Burrow they can do well. Cincinnati, they score 25 and they give up 25. That's pretty good of an over team, that they're going to score in the 20s and they're going to give up in the 20s. So Baltimore will have no problem getting to 30, but I think, like last week, they beat Washington, who's far less offensive minded than Cincinnati, and it was 31-17. They played a 48, I think. I thought that's what it was. Yeah, 31-17. That's a 48 against Washington. I'm sure they'll get in the 30s again, and then Cincinnati, I mean, if it's 31-14, it's a W, right? You got 45. And Cincinnati is going to score in the 20s here. Burrow's getting more comfortable with what's going on. They'll prepare for the blitzes of Baltimore and burn them on it. Again, Burrow throws for 280 a game, and they run for 110, and that's 391 of offense. And they played some good teams. San Diego, one of them. So I'm looking for them to be competitive in this game and score. Let's take a look at the quarterbacks. So if I look at, let's see, so we look at Joe Burrow. He's throwing 65%, 280 yards a game, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He does get sacked a lot. He's been sacked 15 times, which is second to Deshaun Watson getting sacked 16 times. Lamar Jackson, he's way down. They only get 192 yards a game. He is completing 68%. He's got 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. But his are all, he fakes and then he stops. It's like Oklahoma with the wishbone, where they pretend they're going to run, they pull up, and then the receiver's going past the safety and they get a touchdown because you're not expecting them to throw. And I think that's a lot of his touchdowns are like surprise pass. Like 3rd and 10, he's not throwing touchdowns. He's throwing it on 1st down, faking a run, and then he pulls up and hits the tight end or something. So they're kind of fool me plays. But 7-1, so they'll score, and that's what you want. Let's see, Cincinnati. Mixon's rushing for 79 yards a game and 2 touchdowns. Nothing really spectacular. Baltimore, see, that's the problem with Baltimore. Lamar Jackson's your leading rusher at 58 yards a game. That's a problem. You got to have a running back. That's why they can't win the big games, because Gus Edwards is their best running back at 41 yards a game. So that's really their problem. Let's go to the stats. So Cincinnati, 2019 and 2020, 9-1 as a road dog if you bet them, and 9-1 if you bet against them. They're 17-3 against. However, Burrow's first year. So in Burrow's first year, we look at the 2020 stats. They're 4-0 if you bet them, and 4-0 against. So they're covering every week. Baltimore's a home favorite, and I've told you this when they played Kansas City on the video. They are not a good home favorite. They're only 4-4 against the number. They're 17-4. So they're 13-0 everywhere else, but as a home favorite, they're 4-4. They're 6-2 against, so they probably win and don't cover, is my guess. Well, they lost to Kansas City, and they probably lost to New England at home. 2018, 2019, and 2020, Cincinnati 15-3 as a road dog. 28-8 against, 78% against. But you can see they're a strong road dog. And it's weird is Cincinnati's a terrible home favorite. They're 5-3 as a home favorite, 7-1 against. So it's really weird. As a road dog, they're great. As a home favorite, they don't win, I guess. Baltimore again, 11-6 as a home favorite, 12-5 against. And let's see if we go back to 17. Pretty similar stats. So really, the key is Joe Burrow getting you some points. Baltimore's going to score. So that's really the key to the game. Is they both have, Cincinnati. They almost get 400 yards a game, and Baltimore is getting 350, but they score a lot because they might be getting defensive touchdowns or something. They have a good defense at 18, but I like that the over/under number is low at 51. So all I got to do is get to 45. So I like this game both ways. I think Cincinnati in 19. I don't understand this spread. This spread, I had Baltimore -7 is 13. So Cincinnati in 19 is very strong. They're a strong road dog. And again, in the series, they're 10-1 against Baltimore. And you play each other twice a year, and that really helps. They're not intimidated by Baltimore or Jackson because of that. They've seen them enough that they know they're learning better, how to defend them. And now Burrow comes in. If anybody has a surprise at Cincinnati, because they haven't seen Burrow. Cincinnati's seen Jackson, but Baltimore has not seen Burrow. And Burrow, like I told you, this is like an Alabama game for him. This is a big game, and we know what he did against Alabama, and we know what he did against Clemson. He just lit it up. So I really hope Cincinnati can get Chase, the receiver from LSU, next year. It would be nice if he had an LSU receiver to go with it. They'd light up everything. So anyway, so that's the second game. Be careful of the injuries. Um, this COVID thing, I don't know what to do with it. I mean, if I have a play and then there's COVID, I'm going to have to delete the play because obviously they're not playing. So like Denver, New England, I would like if Newton plays, I'd like New England laying 5. But if he doesn't play, they'll probably still cover just because of their defense, and then I'd go under with the game. But then again, so if they have COVID, then there's no game, and then so if I post it and then they COVID it, I'll have to delete the game. So just keep that in mind. Um, I don't know. So anyway, so that's what it is. Otherwise, there's a few games this week. There's not as many. Um, there's so many injuries that you really don't know how to play. Yeah, I guess it depends on who gets injured. Like Dallas has some defensive injuries, but they have Prescott and Elliott. So then you're like going, okay, because that's really what I'm betting on. I'm betting on Tom Brady. I'm betting on Russell Wilson, and they all have injuries, and that's just what you got to deal with. Um, so anyway, that's what's going on. Again, I've had a lot of monthly buyers. It's a good deal at this point. Um, I think it's 300 for 4 weeks for both pro and college. 200 if you just want pros or you just want college. College, we're starting to get more games, but again, I'm trying to the ones that I'm getting fooled on. I'm not going to play until I get better information, like how good's Arkansas, how good's Tulsa. Um, the Big Ten joins in a few weeks. Okay, Ohio State, Michigan's got a new quarterback. Penn State, we got to see. So you got to watch them 3 or 4 games to really get the flavor of the team, and that's going to be the problem. The Pac, I don't know why the Pac 8's only playing I guess 7 or 8 games or whatever. And, some of these conferences are playing 6 games. Like, well, what are you doing? I mean, why are you playing? But I don't know. I'm not really worried about this COVID. All the college teams, and I'm not hearing a lot of COVID. The SEC played. I didn't hear anybody have COVID. They played 2 weeks now, and I'm not hearing anybody get it. So it's kind of weird that everybody's so worried about it, and nobody's really getting it. Cam Newton's asystematic, and he didn't get it playing. And I don't know what's going on with Tennessee. And the tests aren't even really reliable. You're not sure how accurate they are, and the whole thing's just a crapshoot. So really hard to figure. Anyway, good luck. www.teaserking.com is the website. Look at the picks. There's your free picks tonight. Take Dallas, lay 3.5. Even if it goes to 10-4, it's a play. I don't normally like to go over 3, but in this case, I would make the exception, and then take Cincinnati and Baltimore over. I took a little higher. That's a 45, and that's an easy over. I mean, because when you visualize the score, it's even if it's 31-14 is a 45, right? Cincinnati with Burrow will score 20, and Baltimore will score 30, and that's the way it is. But I just think there's so many injuries, and these teams didn't play exhibition or training camp. So I think what's happening is in the fourth quarter, if you notice, there's a lot more scoring in the fourth quarter than any other quarter, and I just think they're tired. And I think the team behind's throwing the ball. Look at Dallas. How many times they look like crap the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter they put up 28 points. But they don't do it in the first quarter or second because the defense isn't tired yet. And then as the defense tires out, and that's throughout the league, and they let, if it's a game like that, they'll score a lot. So I'm not playing Dallas over. It's 54, and I think that's awfully high. I would play it under because I don't see the Giants scoring that much. That's the problem with an over. You want 2 over teams. I got fooled with Green Bay Atlanta, which, again, if Green Bay scores from the goal line in the first quarter, it's an over. If Atlanta hits the guy in the with a couple minutes left in the game, it's an over. So it was very close that it almost got there. The over was a bit high, I thought, but that's what happens once in a while. That's why I say most of the time I've been betting the overs and getting the overs by the third quarter. A couple of unders came in, the Bears, Indy, and the Rams, and the Giants. There you go. So anyway, www.teaserking.com. There'll be one lock this week. It's a college pro lock. Really, really love the college game. I mean, it's a much stronger lock than the others have been. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend and good luck to you. Take care.